Good morning, everybody. I keep trying to get this where you guys can see good. All right. The other day we created a prompt. We did a prompt game, and I told you I was going to cut mine apart into 1 3/4 by 1 1/2 inch rectangles. But before I did that, I put 2 coats of clear coat on them. And in between the coats, I sprinkled some fine glitter so that they have a little bit more blingity bling to them. And then once those 2 layers had dried, I did some work with a fan brush on the back, and I posted a picture in my community tab so you can see what the back looked like when it was a whole sheet. Hang on just a sec. We're getting quite the glare here from the light. So I covered the whole back of it, and then once it had dried, I put clear coat on the back as well. Okay, now it's all dried. I've cut it apart, and before I started cutting the prompts apart, I printed a copy of. Hi, Joyce. I took a black Sharpie marker, a fat one like this, and I just went around all the edges. I do have some paper lifting on some of these. So after I put all of these onto the backs, I'll put the prompts on the back side of them. I'll come back with some glue and I'll set the ones aside that have loose paper, and then I'll just glue my paper back down. I don't want to be on long. I don't know if Carol's still planning to do Fiber Friday or not. But I did want to come on and kind of show these. The cats are going crazy now. And so I thought you guys might like to see. I did print on sticker paper. So I'm going to just roughly cut these apart. You can save your sticker paper if you want to. You know, the part you cut away, and then you can do art on it, and you can make your own stickers that way. All right. And so good morning to Joyce, Shelly, Ann, Beth, Cheryl. I think that's everybody so far that's popped in. And so I'm just going to cut these apart and stick them on here. And that's about it. I think I will. When you print on your sticker paper, if you cut it too close, then you have to fight with the background. But if you take and you start pulling the tape off the back, like so, then you can snip off this part that you're not going to use, and then this is ready to go. Just like that. And then that way you don't have to fight with the background. All right, so that one says draw diagonal lines. That's just a tip. If you have a really long prompt like I have right here, I might have to cut that into 2, but it'll be fine. I do have several wild cards in here for anybody that wants to do these. I can put my list of prompts in my community tab if you guys want me to. But what I highly suggest if you're making a deck for yourself is go through your supplies and just make a list of your supplies, and that way you make sure you're using all of your supplies. Don't hurt each other. And I don't care which way these go on the back of them. You know, one right side up one way could be wrong side up the another way. And it's kind of fiddly to put the stickers on, but it's worth it when you don't have to hand write them all. At least for me it is. I'm just going to cut a few into just the little strips. So I can do them quicker. I still think it's funny that I've made these so specific as far as color and everything. Use a burnt orange. Didn't they turn out cute? And I did a deck like a tiny deck like this before and gave it away. And I think Janet Baum won it. And before I sent it to her, I made a little box to hold them. And that's fun to do too. If you have chipboard, you can make a little box that will fit your custom prompt cards. I'm just going to put a band on these and put them in with my other handmade prompt cards that I have over to the side. And I know it looks funny that I'm leaving them so long like this, but it does help if you have that little place where the backing is exposed on your sticker paper to get them started. So you're not fighting with that backing paper. And you don't have to worry about them being, you know, perfectly straight across or any of that either. All right. I might have to go back through these later and see if I can find the ones with the loose paper. I thought about setting them aside last night when I was doing the marking pen with the marker because it's easier to find, but I didn't. And now I've pulled that all the way off. So I'll just snip this part away. That might actually work better. You do have to deal with the sticky paper being loose, but it works. Oh, I got a cat fight fixing to go on outside. Oh, boy, and it's upsetting my cats. That's what happens when you have a kitten factory next door and they just turn the kittens outside. Oh, this is so much easier to do it like this than fighting with all the individual ones. I can just stick that back on there. Now, will this one fit? No. So what I'll have to do is put this down a ways and then snip between the words. That worked pretty good. Well, you can see how cute they're going to be. This says write something in brown ink. Ooh. Oh my goodness, cats. And Scott is off today because they didn't have any work for him. And I'm letting him sleep in. I did not, hi Angela. I did not see if Anne, is Carol going to be on this morning at 9? I need to know so that, you know, I get off. See, like here, see how the paper's not glued all the way down here? I'll put some glue on that. That's where my magazine paper didn't, you know, sit down all the way. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Anne. I had a couple questions or comments about they were looking forward to seeing how these turned out. Not everybody that watches my channel knows about making your own prompt cards and stuff because I have a lot of sewing people popping up now that I'm in the sewing community as well as in the art community. And so I thought, well, I'll just come on and show them exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, we definitely put this list of prompts together in the autumn, though, because here's Draw an Acorn. So this could be a fall-specific deck. But again, if you're just getting started and getting into doing art and you want a fun game for yourself, go through your supplies, make a list of your supplies and how you would maybe use them. And then you can make your own deck of prompt cards. And you can play with us online, or you can just, if you're just got a rainy day with no power, you can pull a deck of these out and create your own art page or a canvas or a card for a friend. This one's going to have to be separated here. I think these are really cute how they turned out. And the background, again, was done with scribble sticks that I got wet with a fan brush. And that's how I got, and I did some splattering. And then I just did set the fan brush down. And that's how I got all this cool stuff on the background. Let's do this one. It's a shorter list. But the best way to do prompts for yourself is to, again, I can't reiterate enough, is to check your own supplies so that you're using the supplies that you have, you know, because if you don't use it, you'll lose it because it'll dry up in the tube or it will go bad and get some kind of fungus on it. That's happened to me. And it's important that we use our stuff up. I mean, we've spent the money on it. We should use it. And that same can transfer over to my sewing people. I mean, I know a lot of us are trying to use our stash. And I've got 2 bins sitting behind me. I thought, oh, I don't really have anything for Friday sews this week. I haven't really sewn anything. But I do have a couple tubs of fabric behind me that I want to go through and make myself use something out of each tote. And maybe if I start doing that and just make something each week, 1 or 2 things out of the totes I have, certainly then I'd use up, you know, the fabric I have. I do not have space to have my fabrics where I can just have them and look at them. So if I had a closet with open shelves on it that I could just open up and look at it all, but no, I don't. I have them in tubs to protect them from dirt and cat hair and sunlight and all that stuff. But everybody has to work with what they have, right? And be thankful for what you have. Because not everybody has fabric to sew with. So count your blessings, not what you don't have. And I am thankful for all I have to play with. Keeps me from being bored. So you can see this is going to take me a little bit of time. I didn't know if you guys wanted to sit and watch me stick stickers down or not. And I will probably do the card repair, later when I'm watching somebody. My cats don't go outside, so they're like, oh, there's a fight. I want to be in on it. I want to be in on it. And they're running from window to window. Oh, goodness. Hi, Nashua. Angie. Pam. Pam, I caught the tail end of you putting your dryer back together. Is it still running okay? Oh, no. Pierre's been very sick. I can relate. I was sick for almost 3 weeks, and Scott was sick for 5. And it's not COVID, and it's not the flu. It's just some kind of nasty virus, head cold type thing. It can turn into bronchitis and pneumonia if you're not careful. It was just a nasty bug. And I'm glad to say we're both feeling better. I was still sounding a little froggy and had a bad cough. Now it's just a little cough every once in a while. All right, so we'll stick these down. Oh, that's awesome, Pam. It's great that you're so handy. My husband makes it look easy. And he said there really isn't much to a dryer. You've got a belt that makes it spin and a heating element, and you got a tub. That's about it. I was just, I'll do anything out in the yard or with animals and things like that. But when it comes to the electronics and stuff, I could probably do it. But I was raised that that's not something girls do. So it's ingrained in my brain. If I just tell my brain to shut up, I could probably do a lot that Scott does too. And I took metal shop in high school. I didn't take wood shop, but Scott says I'm free to use the tools anytime, but I'd rather he was there to show me how to use them before I go in there. So does anybody have any special plans for this weekend? The Carolina Spring Classic is going on out at the fairgrounds here. It's a big craft fair. They have it every year. They have one here, they have one at the beach, and they have one, I think, in the upstate for both the spring and at Christmas time. They call it the Christmas Classic in the fall. Oh man, poor Pierre. Scott ended up having to take prednisone. And he was on a bunch of decongestants and an inhaler, just a bunch of stuff. He came home with a whole goodie bag from the pharmacy. It's nothing to, quote, sneeze about, that's for sure. Yeah, and it does help if you leave that little place where you can just fold this up. It really helps a lot. And it seems everybody liked the Sharpie through a stencil. That's a Shell C prompt that she was doing one day. And I said, oh, I'm going to add that to that prompt list. So that one you have Shell C to thank for. Man, I hope they figure it out. Not knowing is worse sometimes than knowing and battling it on its own. And if I wanted to, I could still laminate these. Good morning, Kimberly 557. You can still laminate these if you want to. Boy, that beats trying to get that started after you snip it close. I'll have to remember to do that. I think these are going to make a very cute little card. I think I'm going to have a few extra cards. All right, this one is going to be too large. So we'll put white paint and snip them apart. And then I'll put the drip or splatter white paint. Yeah, I'll copy and paste the list into the community tab of my YouTube channel here because not everybody's in my Facebook group. That way you guys can have the prompts too. Oh, yes, Cheryl, get you some sleep. Thank you for stopping in, and I hope Pierre gets to feeling better. Oh, they've gotten moved into their little bungalow. That's good. And now we'll hope and pray that all the, you know what? I'm going to have to separate this again. The hurricanes, leave them alone for 10 to 15 years, and they stay somewhere else. We have had such a mild winter. In fact, we've been running the air conditioner since February because we just can't cope with the allergens. That I'm afraid the bugs are going to be really bad, just really bad this year. I would rather have several months of really bitter cold to kill off some of the bug population. And see, Scott and I are wanting to retire to somewhere where the temperature is more temperate and there's not a lot of hot, and just a little bit more colder weather. That's why we're looking at that northeastern corner of Tennessee. His brother lives up there, kind of, sort of, near Johnsonville. I know, and it's going to be miserable here too. I've put on a short sleeve dress and a pair of shorts, and I just can't get over this weather. It's crazy. I'm going to stay going until 8:30, and then I'm going to sign off so that everybody will be ready for Carol when she comes on. This one's a really long prompt, so this is going to take some. I'll have to put this down at the bottom here. All right, we'll cut between there and there. And then we'll put another little. If these start coming off, I'll add some glue to them too. This just says add an ARTY word over and over with a Sharpie. I might get these done. I got to cut all of those other ones apart though. Use blue. I love sticker paper. Oh, goodness. So he did end up doing it all by himself. Us just moving back down here took it all out of us. So, and we're a lot younger than that. I'll have to think up a few more prompts just so I can fill in all my cards. This is where we did the texture paste through a stencil. And you can do prompts like this for slow stitching too, because Carol and I and Ann did that. And it is fun. Oh, Scott's getting up. But I'll stay till 8:30. Can I finish in 6 minutes? We'll see. I kind of like having the prompts at different angles. Some of these cards came out really cool looking. It's surprising how different it all looks when you chop up a masterboard into something small like this. I should have probably scanned my masterboard because then I could have utilized it, you know, for a bunch of different things by printing off just sections of it or blowing it way up and then printing off the section or shrinking it way down. But I didn't. I took a picture of it, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, wait, that doesn't have one on it. Oh, her dad is up. They greet him when he comes in from work or school. It's like, hey, you're home. So any questions about making your own prompt cards, since that's what we're here doing? I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I thought about trying to come up with some kind of little jar or something, like go through my fabric and my patterns and match them up, and then just have a jar of the pattern numbers. And I could have my list off to the side that said what fabric I plan to use. And then I could draw one out and just make myself make whatever it is. I've come to the conclusion that I need more practice with knit fabric. And I'd like to separate my knit fabric from my woven fabric so that I could use the knit fabric only on days where I'm feeling really optimistic and positive, and not try to sew them on days where I'm struggling, because I learned my lesson with my hoodie hug. I've been putting it off just because I was worried about messing it up, and then I've decided to fix it and make it when I was sick, and that was a bad move. Always do things when you're in the best place mentally, especially if it's something you're struggling with. Some days I'm just not as positive as others. Oh, goodness. You have a dermatologist? Oh, Anne, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, that prompt I probably won't be able to do unless I use spray paint. You said use spray paint or ink, because I got rid of all my sprays. They were all gummed up and I was never using them. So I just got rid of them. They're mostly empty anyway. And I'm not going to buy any more of those. Well, I hope they figure out what's causing you pain. That's one of the things I need to make, thinking about my face and your face, is I've got a pattern for this wide-brimmed garden hat, and I have all the materials. I just need to make myself one. And I don't care if it's going to look huge on my head or nothing, to protect me from the sun, because I do have some precancerous kind of raised areas of skin that they told me to watch. The nurse practitioner was worried about Scott's weird colored bumps he has on all over his body, and it turns out it's just nothing to worry about. They could take them off, but that would cost us money, and if it's not hurting anything, why bother? But he did go and have them checked out. Every new doctor worries about him, and every time they send him off to a dermatologist, and he's like, there's nothing to worry about. I've had them looked at before, repeatedly. Oh, one of them sucking up for some loving from Daddy. I can hear Scott talking to one of the cats. Isn't it funny how the cats act like kids when their favorite people are around? All right. It is 8:31. I'm going to let you guys go, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing sticking these cards, and I might have to come up with a few more. And if I do, I'll add them to the list. So I'm going to let you guys go and have a great day. Bye.